Hi guys, welcome to another video from Atlantic Renewables. I'm Jack Atherton, Associate Director and Design Engineer.
I'm Billy, also Associate Director and also in the engineering team with Jack.
And we're here today to talk about bird protection measures with solar panels. As you'll see, we've got a fair few options that we install, but we'll talk a bit more about other alternatives as well. So behind us, we'll start with in roof panel. So obviously, if you're installing the panels in the roof, there is no gap for the birds to get into. So Billy, do you want to take this and talk a bit more about?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, GSE, as you can see the tray just behind me, this is a half tray. So these are typically installed with, I'd say primarily new builds, and when we're doing a re-roof as well, when the roof's already off.
Yeah.
That's typically when it's most cost effective to do. The main benefit is when it's all finished, it looks fantastic. It looks really, really flush. The panels are on the roof.
Yeah.
They become part of it. So you don't need to worry about these things that we'll talk about a bit later on. There's no way a pigeon can get under there because it's all flush. So yeah, the benefit is the aesthetic, but there's a little bit more work involved to make it all watertight, and there's just more labour overall to make this all form well. There's battens involved, but mainly it's just a labour. Yeah. It comes down to how cost effective is it? If it's a retrofit of a system, if you've already got your roof on and it's just a standard job, very rarely would this make financial sense unless you've just got money to burn and you want to just absolutely
Well, aesthetics is your primary concern.
Aesthetics, but usually aesthetics and performance is weighed up when we do these calculations, and it makes most sense with our new build estates that we're currently doing a new build estate in Tildesley with 19. They're all getting this. We do a lot of re-roofs ourselves as well. These come into play as well. But yeah, we talk about the actual installation as well, the sort of fixings. You can see there's a few different grooves here for the different clamps that go into the rafters and the battens as well. But
so to summarise, some of the reason, so what we've seen here is a half cell, so you actually need two of these per solar panel, but obviously we've only got a little studio at the moment, so you're not going to bring a full 1800mm panel in. So obviously imagine you turn this 90 degrees, you've got 3 points where you want to put battens in here, which is where we install the hooks that hold the panels actually to the roof, and then here and here, which is where it holds the panel, the GSE panel, to the roof. So there's several fixing points, and obviously these don't, or you'd be very lucky if these batten placements actually line up with where the tiles ones are. So again, we're doing more roof works to get this on. Not only that, if we're getting, like you say, to a roof which already has tiles on, first of all, we have to strip the whole roof to get this on. Obviously there's two of these per panel, so typical 10 panel. There's a lot of tiles to remove, there's a skip, there's time involved in that, hence the cost of these just balloons and goes up and up. So again, as Billy's correctly said, the ideal case for this is if you haven't started a re-roof yet, or if you're mid re-roof, or if you're creating a new roof that you want the panels on. And one thing to note as well, these are locked into portrait arrangements, and if you're having panels in an array and you're having two rows, they need to be locked in line with each other as well. So it's also not a very flexible system in terms of panel arrangement, which can affect the amount of panels you get on a roof compared to an on-roof solution, because beyond this as well, there's edge plates and things like that which extend again probably another 400 to 500 mil above that. So especially on roofs in the UK where we've got triangle edges, we really can actually affect panel count by going in roof. So it may be that on roof you can get more panels on. So again, if you're working with us, we'll talk you through the ways of sort of making sure you get the most panels in that respect.
Because if it's a concrete rectangle roof, it makes sense because it's rectangles on a rectangle. But as you say, if we've got like rhombus shaped roofs, triangular elements, it can be tricky because of the amount of flashing you need as well as the kit. But I think it looks fantastic, especially with the all black panels. They look really, really nice. And one of the big benefits as well is you don't have to worry about that bird protection. There's not a chance that any pigeons or crows or magpies can get
in line with the roof tiles. On roof tiles, it does work with each type of roof tile, isn't it? Again, we'll pause and have lots of different pictures here about the different types of aesthetic, combining either concrete roof tiles or slate or rosemary clay, hard. We have done stone tiles as well recently. That's more of an effort, but it can be done. So yeah, that's our in-roof option that we currently use. Now, there are others on the market. SolaSkirt is one that we don't install. And SolaSkirt, again, we'll put a picture up here explaining how it looks, but essentially the panels stack like that and they hold each panel together like that. The reason we don't install them is actually with GSE you can use any panel on top of this as long as it's the right rough size. With SolaSkirt you are limited to the panel types that they're compatible with,
specific,
and it's much it's much smaller. They're typically smaller panels as well.
Less wattage.
We're looking at 480 watts at the moment now, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's definitely less wattage for the SolaSkirt. So for those reasons, we tend to opt for this solution over the SolaSkirt. The big asterisk here being there's a new player on the market coming in. I believe it's called S4. So we saw them again at the trade show this year. And so they're not currently being installed. They're taking orders, I believe, at the time of recording. So they are more universal. They can have portrait and horizontal. I believe they can allow for misalignments. Again, I haven't looked too close.
It's brand new.
So the practicalities of this are yet to be seen, but it's something we're looking at in the industry at the moment. So yeah, that competition is there, definitely putting pressure on GSE, which is for us being the front runners for the 4 years I've been here.
I'd say
probably
longer, 5 or 6 years we've been fitting it.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with it. It's a great product.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the first way of avoiding bird problems is to not have a place for the birds to go. If, as we say, you can get more panels on by going on roof, or if GSE just isn't in the cost bracket for the project, we move to the on roof solutions. So I'll let Billy talk about the mesh now. But the alternative being SolaSkirts. Yeah, Billy, take away.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, the mesh just in front of me. We always recommend one of the two, just for that protection. If you don't get the barriers on, we've had customers do that in the past, and they always do regret that, because you may not have pigeons in the area now, but when you built the solar, when we put the solar array on, you basically just built a pigeon house on that roof. Pigeons, they get under, they nest, they wedge all the nest against the hooks, they poo everywhere. It can cause a mess. So one of the two is highly recommended. The mesh is a more cost-effective option. It's a lot cheaper because there's less less materials to actually buy, and it's a little bit quicker to fit. And usually this is fitted when we've got more corners, when we need to go closer to chimneys, maybe flues, and there's a sort of tight areas of the array for the protection. But the main thing is how cost effective it is. These systems, both of them, they don't have an impact on your array performance. They don't make the power more. They don't give you any more watts. They don't store any more power. So doing it cost effective is typically what we recommend. And this is what we always state on our quotations. But if you want to go for the premium option, SolaSkirt is where that can step in.
So I'll represent Team SolaSkirt on this one. I'll do that because I've got it on my own house. So as you see, a bit more robust. They generally come out very pristine. I've taken this out of its sheath and everything. But what you see here is a corner. So the clamps here, very industrial extruded metal. That holds it to the panel. And that's the corner, and you can imagine on the corner the same is present on the other side. Again, we'll show videos and photos both on our Instagram, but also on this video. For me, it was a bit of a no-brainer. It was on the front roof of my house. It can be seen from ground level. And while you're up there, that it looks like a more robust solution, but it does come with that added price tag. I'd already paid for a re-roof. I was in for the extra few hundred. I think I was definitely inclined towards the aesthetic on this one. Again, we'll show photos on the screen now of kind of both installs. Both are very practical, but again, the problem with this is, as you can see, when you install it at the angle, it adds an extra width to the perimeter, which doesn't become an issue unless you've got things like chimneys, unless you've got things like dormers that we're trying to avoid. In which case,
as well.
Velexes as well. So any kind of roof obstacle, having to work around shapes, anything, and anything with too many corners. Again, if you've gone for an array which has got 6, 8, 10, 12 corners. The price for this does go up because the corners are the fiddly bit. The corners cost more than the straights, so it's not such a dynamic pricing scale with this. This is a very flexible solution. The bird mesh, you can get into those corners easier. whereas the SolaSkirt, whilst it looks better, takes more time to install, costs more for the materials, and therefore comes with a higher price tag. However, both of them do stop birds getting in.
Same job.
The amusing question I had on the site survey once is will the bird mesh stop a squirrel? We've never done any testing. I've not caught a squirrel to try and get it to chew through one of these.
It'd be interesting.
Exactly. That specific customer did go for SolaSkirt in the end because of the worry about squirrels. Again, I've got no test data for that answer.
It's tough to prove.
Yeah. So
both very good, aren't they?
Yeah. So then, I guess to summarise, Bill, we've got the first way to avoid the problem is to not have it in the first place. The in-roof solutions, however, if that comes at a heightened budget allocation, if that's not an option either for aesthetic or budget reasons, you can go for the on-roof solutions available here. There are lesser known solutions I've seen. It looks like a bog brush, it's like a long cable with like
goes on the
bristles, and they sort of just push it up and under. I've done several site surveys where I've seen that stuff fall out, or has fallen out on the navel and things like that. Exactly how you secure it to the panel as well is important, because if you fix through the frame, you avoid the warranty of the panel immediately. None of these solutions, you can tell from the clips, they all clamp to the frame of the panel rather than through it, which is important. Anyone drilling into a solar panel is a cowboy installer. Avoid them. So that would be my observation of the alternatives. Again, we're not going to force you to get these systems. If you look around, there's no birds in the area, or you just want to roll the dice, fine. It goes against our recommendation, but it can help reduce the project cost. But again, the simpler, cheaper install often ends up being the more expensive. Get rid of the problem. Getting rid of birds while they're nested is very complicated and costly. Not a nice job. Exactly. And as you say, once they're under there, the ammonia in their excrement can corrode the PVC cables,
problems,
creating fire hazards, things like that. So I mean,
highly recommend one or the other. Just don't go without. I know there's the cost-effective option, and it's just weighing up aesthetic versus the price. As I said before, we always recommend this as the sort of the standard. But if you do want to go with the SolaSkirt, it's just that premium look. There's even instances where we've got like an east-west split house, for example. You can put SolaSkirt on the front, which faces the street, and then mesh on the back, which they're not visible. So that's also an option as well to save the cost. But yeah, you say you've got SolaSkirt.
Feels like we're at a close, Bill.
Fantastic.
Thanks for listening, guys. We'll plan on doing more videos like this, comparing different elements of solar installs. Again, if you've got any thoughts, likes or comments, add them to the video below. Again, point us at something else you're interested in if you want to get some installers' point of view. Visit us, www.atlantarenewables.co.uk. We're also on Instagram, and
lots of pictures of these all over social media.
Lots of real-world pictures that this actually been installed. Thanks from me.
Thanks very much.
Take care.